Next up, before our coffee break, we'll be hearing next story from a very well known collection of Finnish brands coming from Amer Sports. We've got two designers, Juha Lauhamaa and Lasse Vuorento, who've very kindly taken up the great challenge of opening up about the kind of hard lessons that they've learned on the way of starting to work with data in their products. Please welcome Juha and Lasse.
Okay, thank you. Hope you hear me. Nice to be here in front of all the designers as a designer. Actually, I am the interim general manager of Sports Tracker app, and I'm running the growth and marketing of Sports Tracker.
And I'm Lasse Vuorento, and I'm a design lead for Suunto's mobile app.
Yeah, and our topic today is called the painful process of accepting the truth. And we will tell you a bit how implementing a real-time analytics platform to our apps have changed the way we develop and design our apps, and pretty much how it has changed the way we work in our company. So our company is Amer Sports, which is a brand company with lots of world-known brands in the portfolio. Our role in this company is to combine these physical products with mobile and digital solutions to a coherent user experience. So we make Amer Sports makes sports apparel, sports gear, and we are the digital part of this experience. So Sports Tracker, first of all, how many of you know Sports Tracker app? So, looks good, good audience. So Sports Tracker has been around for a very long time. So it was established already back in 2004. 2015, Sports Tracker was acquired by Amer Sports. But the app itself has millions of downloads in yearly basis, millions of active users in yearly basis. It's a well-recognized app all over the world, used actively in over 200 countries, and a very high-quality app with high ratings in App Store and Google Play. And these are the reasons why Sports Tracker has been used as the app platform for other apps within Amer Sports. So about this later. So, before we implemented Amplitude to our platform, we had and still have a lot of different sources of data that we use. But before that, we didn't have real-time data of our users. We didn't have an easy way to look the data. And many of the sources that we got the data were using or were creating the data or aggregated. It was aggregated data. Of course, we knew some of the facts. So we saw the amount of downloads we got. We knew the amount of registered users. And then, based on the different data sources, we had assumptions of our monthly active user levels, how our app was used as a social sports app platform, and of course, demographics. So who are using our app and how they are using it. But when we got the real-time data flowing in, a lot of these facts crushed. So some of them still remained as facts. But for example, MAU, so monthly active user level, that's one of our KPIs, and it was already back then. And one of the facts that we had to report on monthly basis to our CDO. And 1 month wasn't that nice. So First of all, of course, when we implemented the amplitude, we could see after the first day our actual daily active user level. After 1 month, we could see our monthly active user level. And it was a lot lower than we had thought. And when we reported this actual situation one month in the year 2017, our CDO said that, hey guys, don't worry, now you know. And from that day on, we started to know things. So we knew how many users we have on daily basis, how many users we have on monthly basis. The data started gathering, and I can tell you that, as mentioned in the previous presentation, having a lot of data doesn't actually mean anything, but we have a lot of data of people doing sports, and now we had an easy, clear view, and even me, from the day first, I could read the data, I could check that, okay, what's happening. And we had been building the app for over 10 years. It has an abundance of different cool features. We had been building it to be a social sports platform. So as we all know, sports is more fun with friends. And we, of course, started to try to push our app towards that. And the demographics then, we had assumptions, but when we started to actually learn who were using our app, it was a bit different situation than we had thought. So if you figure out now a person using this kind of app as sports tracker, maybe you can close your eyes and think of the person who it might be. And I will show you the picture of that person. So our users were more men than we had thought. They were older than we had thought, and they were more Finnish than we had thought. But at the same time, when we implemented and started to learn about our users, we did also implement a mobile marketing automation tool into our apps, which meant that we could start from the same day to communicate with our users. And we could communicate them in real time. So when you do sports, you save your workouts, we could say something to you based on your behavior. And then we could see how our app was also used. And one of the main parts when starting to use the app is the onboarding funnel. So when you start to use it, you go through this funnel. And for us, this funnel means millions of people every year. They download the app from App Store or Google Play. They open the app, sign up, and of course we want all of you and all of our users to do a workout, because that's what the app is built for. But in each of these steps, there's a drop-off. And now we could see in real time the drop-off. Of course, we had been using data to improve this funnel, but at this point, when we got the real-time data, it was a different case. We could see exactly what's going on. And first of all, we could see the differences between our platforms, so Android and iOS. And we started to go for the parity in this part of the app usage. So then we started to do tests, do things. And we did, for example, this. As you can see, there's a huge change in the screens. Can you spot the difference? It's a minor one. We changed the size of the tab and changed the text from sign up with Facebook to continue with Facebook. And 6% of users more users went through the funnel with this change. And if you think about millions of users coming to this point of using the app, that's a lot of users that actually started using the app. So a big change already here. And then I talked about the social part of the app. So we've been building the app to be a social experience. You can see the screen here. That's the home screen of our app. And you can see that the feed is peaking there. There's someone that I follow has been doing a workout, and internally, of course, we were following each other. We were building the app, we were doing sports, we were cheering each other, giving likes, giving comments, and thought that this is the user experience of others as well. But unfortunately, again, a teardrop in my eyes at this point. So we were a bit biased with the social part of the app. 20% had friends, were following each other, 80 didn't have. And then it was a point of truth, or moment of truth there, thinking that, okay, so is this then a sports tracker with a sports diary, or should we keep pushing the app towards this social thing? And the good thing with the data that we now had, that was easy to read, we could go dive deeper into it. We could check the users who do follow each other in the app and how they behave compared to the ones who don't. And the numbers are quite big. So the retention, so when they start using the app and start following someone from the beginning, is almost double to the users who don't. And the actual activity level is 15% higher. And by this, we mean that they do 15% more workouts. And of course, something nice to communicate to the rest of the group, to the 80%, that hey, if you want to be in shape, do like these people who follow each other here. Just an example. And then diving even deeper to the app. As mentioned, we had been building it for over 10 years. We had been building a lot of features into the app, and we thought that every cool feature we created, we were thinking about the next one even cooler. So this one is called Coast Target. It's actually a really cool feature, but just try to find it from the app. So that's the point being here, is that in this feature you can compete against yourself. You can go and run the same route that you do in the Töölölahti, run around it, and you can compete against yourself there. You can put the voice feedback on, and the app will tell you how you're performing against yourself. It's cool. And everyone uses it, of course, that's what we thought. Oh, but it wasn't actually like that. So here you can see how many users use the app and the feature, and how many times they use it. And that cool coast feature is in the bottom left corner of this graph. That's what we want it to be. Of course, that's a bit too optimistic, getting everyone using it, but still the goal was getting it more towards that position. But luckily, we had the communications tools in place. We could start communicating about these cool features that we had been building. And with the help of the real-time data, we could see in real time how our communications were performing, if people were finding, if they were using it. And this is exactly what we're doing nowadays also, and keep going. So, from the day first, after 1 year, we had learned a lot. Our product design and development from sports tracker point of view changed totally. So our mindset changed. We started to think about not creating more features. We wanted the existing features to be used, of course. And when we created something new, we started to think about how to bring it in a way that it's the best possible solution for our users. So we started A/B testing everything, because we could see in real time how they perform. Our marketing changed, marketing and communications changed totally. So this graph here on the bottom is actual graph of people doing cycling workouts throughout 1 year. Black one being Brazil, and then the two different green and blue being European countries. So we could see, if you think of as a marketer, you could see that when these seasons start, we could communicate exactly in the right time when we needed to about cycling, about skiing. We could see when the ski season starts in the Alps and these kind of things. So really interesting stuff for a marketer. And when we had been building this, when we had we were doing these things, we had one goal, of course, was to scale Sports Tracker as an asset that Amer Sports had bought into the house. We were teaching people how to use these modern tools, analytics, communications, and of course the proven user experience we had already and that we started to even further improve. And the scaling since has happened. So now there's 3 brands on board, 3 products using Sports Tracker as their mobile platform and with one code base. And here you can see these cool new brands using the same asset. So Suunto, you all might know of the watches, and now this is a new thing that actually isn't even released yet, but Atomic is bringing a connected boot and using the same code base and same asset with their app. So they have a ready to join tool to start communicating with their users in real time. They can see in real time the data, what's happening, how their apps and products are being used. And of course then internally we have people to help them. And now Lasse can tell you how Suunto has taken this opportunity into real life.
Yeah, so I'll tell a bit how the data is present in our work, both qualitative and quantitative data. So yeah, as you know, Suunto creates sports watches for divers and athletes, and the mobile app plays a key role in this experience. So with the app, users can basically unlock a lot of the features inside the watch and also relive their adventures and analyze their sports in the app. The context and the users we are designing for do a lot of different sports. They do it in all levels. There's pros and passionate beginners. And they do it from different motivational backgrounds. Others do it for health and fitness. Some do it to enjoy nature. And then there's people who compete at the highest levels. So in the app, users find a lot of cool features. They can basically customize the watch, follow up their daily activity, and create routes, find places, do sports, analyze their sports, even connect to other sport services. When we are designing these features, what we need to do is to basically be in contact with our analytics team and figure out what kind of analytics events we put in place into the features. And this way we get, of course, the data, how the app is used, but as Jussa mentioned, it's also used for to be able to tailor the experience for variety of users. So divers would see different content there than trail runners, etc. So when we have this data, how people are using this, we can view it in various ways. But let's stick into this in this engagement matrix. So down there is the features that are not used by many, and on top corner there's these features that are used a lot. But this again doesn't tell you like the reality. Are these like liked features or loved features because they're on top right or so? So we need that qualitative side of things, and that we have all the time on the table as well when we are looking at the data. So comparing. So we can find, for example, that users request stuff that we actually have, but they just don't find that. And then from open feedback, we get understanding that some stuff just confuses people, and then we find this kind of killer features that is on the top right there that actually is not a feature at all. It's just a sort of UX issue, and it it just pops up there because the UX isn't best. It's not working as it should. So it reveals things. And as said, we are designing for different kind of user groups, so we need to look at the data also from their perspective. So divers use the app much more differently than for example, hardcore trail runners and so on. So always remember this kind of angles, how to look at the data. We've been out for a year now with this new app, and feedback is kind of negative at sometimes, and people want more features. And that's kind of nasty request, because where to start from. And there's mentions that they want this kind of diary, they want a calendar, they want more analytics and stuff. So what we asked then, because we can ask in the app, we basically asked, so what feature you want to get next? What should we do, and why? So people basically voted, and the top 3 that we can do something about are the long-term analysis, summary of key metrics, and calendar. And we could now start to, let's do A first, but you shouldn't do that. Basically, it's good to understand like what's the underlying need behind those feature requests. And so that's why we have concept design phase ongoing. Not going to look like that, but maybe there's some elements there. And this kind of concept design is fueled by all sorts of information we have in-house to understand the problem we're solving and why we are doing this. So we have events and workshops on topics, and then surveys and studies we do quite regularly, actually. Also our consumer insights team does something, and we personally, designers, do surveys as well through the app. And then we have quite extensive field test community that we discuss with on a weekly basis to understand why we are doing what we're doing. And then, of course, prototyping, sketching to figure out how we should package the solution. And finally, when we are out there live on the market, then we see how it responds. What's the real-time data then that tells the story, how it performs, and then what kind of reviews and comments it triggers.
Yeah, so trying to keep the schedule. That's our story, our journey with real-time data, living with it. And our kind of last words would be that be open-minded with the data. Get over your own bias. Let the data tell you if you're right or wrong. Let it surprise you. Keep learning. And we are here for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think this is a perfect kind of companion for the talk from Pia about what OP has been doing in a little bit more abstract level. I think this shows the kind of many of the same elements that the OP has been kind of working on for a little bit longer period of time from a totally kind of coming just from a little bit different angle. Do we have questions from the audience? There's one. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So the question was about the future of sharing overall. What implications does that have?
Sharing or activity. Yeah.
I think there's space for that. Like we are seeing that as well. That yeah, people want to be, for example, in nature and shut off all the equipment and be there, live that experience, and then. But I believe there's still space for them to relive those memories that you had there out, and it's a little bit different for Sports Tracker and to Suunto, because these devices are for cases where you go out in the woods, and these help you to navigate through the wilderness and so on. So they're not just for the tracking sake, but for safety sake as well.
Yeah, and I think like it's still a mega trend that's going forward, but there's different kind of paths, and of course, for example, privacy is something really important for people, and a concern how my health data is being used, and these kind of questions have been around a lot lately. But what we can see still, like in Sports Tracker, is that the social thing in our app. People want to belong in some sort of a group of like-minded people, and it's just that the mega trend is there, but there's tons of different segments inside of it. So it's a big questions that would need probably more time to answer, but a good one.
Okay, so there are kind of pulls to different direction. We can take one more question. There.
Also, at the end, when you said, so we do this analytic thing, that's actually one of the things we do well. Was that a pivot, or had you planned on that being your core offering from the beginning?
Now I couldn't hear you, but maybe you can repeat, Lasse.
I will. Maybe you can repeat the first part of the question, and let's deal that.
Sure. Your wonderful finding early on was you have a lot of male Finnish users. And I'm wondering if that perhaps could be a result of that you probably have lots of male Finnish designers and developers. And that might have led to the choices that made it very, very attractive to men who are technically oriented, shall I say.
Yeah, you are on the right track there. Our app used to look a bit different than it looks nowadays, and it had this more technical UI that we've been now refreshing. So, and we of course our roots are in Finland, so that's also one of the reasons. But also that what you mentioned, for sure.
But the app design team at the moment consists of me, Vesa Tienvieri, who's leading the Sports Tracker design, and Eeva Erkko, Rosaval, and Aija Malmioja at the moment from Quick. So we are the minority at the moment in the design team.
Okay, unfortunately, I think we have to kind of let these gentlemen discuss the other question offline. So thanks, Juha, Lasse.
Thank you.